Hello, Leo. We are talking about Saturn entering Pisces on March the 7th. It is coming up. Thank you for listening. If you are listening, I haven't been thanking you guys. I've been trying to incrementally get these up with my voice and everything. But if you're listening on the podcast, thank you so much for doing that. We definitely have went through a couple different places where my audios have found you. I've been doing audio since the beginning of my YouTube career, and I'm very happy to see that now they're adding podcasts as a regular way for creators to get things up. So you're going to start to see all of those audios that used to be on SoundCloud separately, which I'm happy to report I no longer need that account anymore because it's on YouTube. And I was given audio readings anyway, so this is something that I do. Some of us prefer to listen on your way to work, while you're at work, or whatever, while you're working out. So excuse my voice and me having to speak harder and pronunciate things. But the voice is doing a little bit better today. So let's go ahead and get started, Leo. Thank you for that. All right, Leo suns and Leo risings. Let's talk about it. So it looks like Leo, now Cancer has had their chance, okay, has had run the course of Saturn was in their 8th house. And I was just talking about in that Cancer video how it was hell. If you want to listen to what some of the previous zodiac sign went through to get a feel for what you're going to go through, please just go back and listen to Cancer. I'm going to tell you that Cancer just finished up this transit and now it's going into you. All right. So the 8th house. All right. 8th house is the house of transformation. Passionate and mysterious Scorpio leads the 8th house with Mars and Pluto. This house focuses on relationships, but less about how people behave in relationships and more about how those relationships transforms them. This includes insight on one's birth, death, sexuality, and karma. This house also governs joint properties that has had transformational abilities like inheritances, debt, and even joint finances. And let me say, poor Cancers, myself included, had to go through this at the cusp of the world being shut down due to the pandemic. And yes, I would say for Cancer suns and risings, dare I say, you lost somebody. Even if it wasn't COVID related, you lost somebody in the last 3 years. My heart goes out to all of the Cancers that may be listening for a Leo. And Leo, let's go ahead and get into it for you. Now, the great thing about this is that although I'm not highlighting the fact that you should be excited about losing anybody, but anything that's transiting to the 8th house is a possibility. And the problem with this also, well, I'm not going to say problem, but one of the additional things that I would like to point out is that when Saturn enters into Pisces on March the 7th, it's going to be a bit of a double whammy for you because, as I was explaining to Cancer, this transit is 2.5 years. So you have about a 6-month overlap, maybe to some degree, 8-month overlap when the nodes are changing. So the nodes go, North Node and South Node changes every 18 months. So with that being said, you're going through this and the Cancer is giving you the baton of Saturn entering Pisces, different zodiac sign, but still some of the same energy because Saturn is entering Pisces in your Scorpio house, which is your 8th house. So the North Node and South Node right now, karma is in Scorpio. So Leo, there may be some things. Let's go ahead and go through this so you can understand, especially if you don't realize how the transformational energy of Scorpio works. Going deep, an intense and intimate cycle begins this March 7th when the heavyweight Saturn moves into Pisces for the first time this century, starting a 3-year march through your 8th house of merged energies, shared properties, and joint ventures. Between now and 2026, Leo, you will be learning important lessons about how you combine your resources with other people. And it is not easy. For you, you are a sign already that dealing with other people. It may not be as hard as it was for Cancer, which is a cardinal energy. You are a fixed energy, and there is a great deal of your energy that relies on other people anyway, because you depend on other people for a lot of little nuances in your energy. Cancer may seem like they do, but in actuality, they don't. They're very entrepreneurial. I'm a little biased because I'm a Cancer sun, but extremely entrepreneurial. Cardinal energy is extremely about, let me do it myself. I'm not saying that all cardinal energy is independent. I'm just saying, and I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with being codependent. I'm saying that it's nice to strike a balance between the two, but unfortunately, some energies that rely heavily on other people, they happen to need other people for, certain things in their energy, and you happen to be one of them, in my opinion. So I want you to know certain relationships will go the distance while others may need structural repair to survive. During this Saturn cycle, you may go through couples therapy, a legal process or some formal program to help you gain new skills. If you've got debt, Saturn in this wealth savvy zone can help you slowly pay it off. You could make an investment or buy property, but take care with that, okay? Restrictive Saturn will ask you to play the long game, meaning you will not see several returns. You will not see returns for several years. There won't be any overnight wealth over here, so you're being guided to avoid any get-rich-quick schemes, offers like the plague, please. Because when you try to cheat Saturn, Leo, and you do have an energy that can be a little impatient by nature, because you are a fixed sign, and you do have a little bit of an energy of wanting things to kind of go the way you see it through. You can't F around with Saturn. Saturn don't do that, trust me. And I do have fixed energy, but I do have 7 signs cardinal. So my chart is split. And so, and because I'm naturally Saturnian, and I have Saturn, and I have Saturn ruling my emotions, and I believe in my 4th house, maybe 3rd. Anyway, I have a Capricorn moon, so I'm familiar with this. So I'm telling you guys that likes to march by the beat of your own drum, and I do have fixed energy in my inner planets, but only 2. Which is Venus and Mars, two of the very most important. But needless to say, I'm telling you, I know both sides of the coin. All right? I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just telling you that Saturn is the daddy, and it's going to be rough. Go into it with your eyes open. Let's finish. So this cycle is something of a cosmic paradox, because Saturn is the ruler of boundaries, but the 8th house is all about becoming one with another person. Much of this cycle will be about untangling what's yours and theirs, but that property, be that of property or emotional baggage. I went through that as well. Are you carrying too much of the load in a relationship? As much as you like to change someone or even lift their burden, Saturn sounds the call for healthy detachment. We're not saying that you should leave a loved one, you should let a loved one suffer or fall apart. But there's a point where people have to do the work and learn their own lessons. By interfering, you do them a disservice and prevent them from learning crucial survival skills. The story of my life, guys, when I'm calling for healthy detachment, and by the way, I am surrounded by a shitload of Leos. You do not like burdens. You don't like boundaries. You don't like somebody telling you, especially depending on what your combination is. So don't take that to heart. But I'm surrounded by them, and my goodness. But anywho, a question that you might be avoiding in your own life? Okay. By trying to manage someone else's affairs. Again, a question. What might you be avoiding in your own life by trying to manage someone else's affairs? If you've been rushing in for the save with the business partner or bailing someone out financially, this Saturn cycle will impart similar lessons. Saturn was last in Pisces May 21st, 1993 to April 7th, 1996. So if you're old enough to remember what that looked like, look back for clues as to how or what might resurface right now. And if you were born then, welcome to your very first Saturn return. Overall, Leo, you're in a 6-year stretch of maturity and growth around relationships. Saturn entered Aquarius and your committed partnership house on March 21st, 2020. So right as the pandemic lockdown started in the United States is around the time where it was in your 7th house, okay? Now Virgo is about to go through what you went through. So you've been going through it for the last couple of years, but I don't think it feels like Saturn. I don't think that it's going to be as rough because you do other people well. You don't do detaching well when you love somebody. That's why they're telling you this. So that probably was a little bit easier for you to stomach. Since then, you've taken a more grown-up approach to your dynamic duos. Good, and congratulations for that. Cue the 2.0 round of Leo-Leo couple, Benifer, that resulted in the wedding and blended family. So that's a good example how this transit saw Ben Affleck and Jennifer getting back together. Jennifer, why can't I remember her last name all of a sudden? Are you J-Lo? I'm just going to say that because I cannot. Lopez. Okay. All right, Marv. Anyway, tough lessons have come with this, but it's nothing your devoted and dutiful sign can handle. If you approach this next chapter with humility and take pride in facing any shortcomings, challenges, or personal demons, that starts with admitting that you don't have all the answers and knowing that is okay. Saturn is a wise teacher, and his curriculum is life experience. You're being guided to surrender, be vulnerable, and this process will be a whole lot easier. Allow the mystery to unfold instead of asking why me in a victim-y way. Ask why not me and step into your power from there. Just a couple more notes for this, guys, before I close this out. This was hell, and I pride myself on being tapped in. I basically went into it knowing what was about to happen and just kind of waiting for things to happen as they did. And the transit is so long that you forget that it's going on sometimes because it's just one thing after another. And poor Cancer suns and risings, we had to go through this right at like I said, the lockdowns. So with that 8th house, knowing that someone is going to, lose their life, I did lose a couple of family members to COVID. Some of them I didn't know. One that hurt me very deeply that I couldn't even go and see was my aunt. I didn't even get an opportunity to see her, tell her goodbye or anything, and because we were on lockdown. And then on top of that, the person that I love very much romantically got COVID. And at that time, he I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I wasn't expecting, I was expecting him to be a warrior. We were, of course, separated in our separate residences, and to hear him gasping for air and not being able to breathe, he thought he was going to die, basically, one night. And he called me in the middle of the night, and that is the most helpless, heartbreaking, scary. I mean, how many adjectives can I impart to this example of what I couldn't do anything? I basically had to wake up in the morning and call him to make sure he survived because he couldn't breathe. I didn't know what happened, and I couldn't get over there because we were literally in the midst of the lockdowns. And as a matter of fact, by that time, we were out of phase 1 of lockdown, not open yet, but the estheticians, the barbers, and all of those people were back open. So he ended up catching it through, after taking all the precautions and being cleared to open up his business, he ended up catching it from one of his clients. So God bless, guys. I'm going to send loving, praying hands your way. It's just yet another thing that we have to deal with life, in life. And remember, guys, walk into your power in this one, because being a victim and asking why me, that's just not. Saturn wants to see you succeed. It wants to see you roll with the punches. So yes, it is going to be hard in some ways, but when you get out of this, it's going to be fantastic. Okay, if you're interested in knowing, again, how it, I did tell you some of these things, but if you're interested in knowing some other things, go listen to Cancer, and I'll see you soon. Bye, Leo.